So good to have you here. And
me. It's awesome to talk to you. I love our conversations. I look forward to them. So it's awesome. Thanks for having me.
I think it's an explosion when we're together. So we've talked about before, and I want us to share with people what is that we came to the conclusion about when people are feeling out of faith, when they feel like, I don't know what to do, I know I don't believe in God anymore, or I'm really hurting because my life is a mess, and I feel like I'm out of light. I just don't have hope anymore, and that's why I have you today. So let's talk about that. So what do you think, and how would you like to start talking about it, like to really help people with this?
So I think that when people experience a crisis of faith, it usually means that they need to take time to reconnect to themselves. Crisis of faith is a gift, because someone from the outside is like, I'm sick, I don't have any money, all my relationships are crazy, I'm praying and it's not working, all of this stuff. They're coming to the point where they're questioning. They're at the point, like they're questioning. And when they're having a crisis of faith, when you have a crisis of faith, what do? You question and you go in, right? So it's almost built in. So when people say, I'm having and then they say, oh, it's a horrible thing. It's a horrible thing to lose your faith. But you always ask these people afterwards, 6 months later after this crisis of faith, what do they usually say? Well, I had this crisis of faith, but they all say it, I went in. I went in for the answers. The answers came after I was just surrendered to it. And then they come up with this other realization where they have a renewing of faith, but they don't usually say renewing of faith. They say, I know now. They don't say they have faith anymore. They're saying, I know. It's kind of like if they have an NDE, a near-death experience, or they have this other, and then they go through these, like, it makes them question it. It kind of strips them bare. It strips them down. But then they always come out the other side stronger. But they have this renewal of, like, they know, or like if they die and go to heaven, they don't say they have faith. They say they know, right? Yes. They move past that. So a lot of the times it might seem like a crisis, might be the worst possible thing that could ever happen to anyone. But then you come to realize that the universe is always conspiring for your highest good. And that's very, very true. So even a crisis of faith will actually lead you to more understanding and more wisdom. So on the other side of it is usually a lot more peace, a lot more wisdom, a lot more love. So you kind of have to go through the dark night of the soul to come out the other side.
And actually you hear a lot about clients saying like, oh, this thing that happened to me, and I can also say that for my own experience, this horrible thing that happened to me that made me suffer so much was the best thing that happened to me, because now through that experience, I'm here now. I was able to overcome and now take this other, road and thrive, so I totally relate to that.
They're looking for more meaning, and the old model is no longer working for them. That's why they're questioning. So that brings up a crisis of faith.
And usually when that dimension that we are operating, which is the old paradigm, is like, it's my boss' fault. It's his wife that I got married to, or husband, right? So you start blaming the outside sources, and then you feel victimized because it can fix those things.
Yes.
Those things are a reflection of how you are operating inside. So inside of your mind, if you're coming from the messy insecurity, things that the limiting beliefs, the assumptions that you had as you're growing up, and feeling insecure and lack of confidence, then you reflect that out, and the outside plays as a story for you. So you can't fix the story. It's just endless. You can fix it. But you can't fix you, how you see the story. And then when you fix it and you minimize and you let go of that feeling of I'm not worthy, or, feeling of pain that you have deep inside that you can even be aware of in a conscious level, then you fix that, then the outside just changes. I get that. Now I have one question. And my question is, how do you go in? How do you do this? How?
So I think it's a call to action. And it's a call to go within and to really reflect. So I think that the first thing that I would say is that they need to reconnect to themselves. They need to slow down, because when someone is in that state and they're very much in depression and nothing is working, they just need to take time and to just breathe. And I know that can be very, very difficult.
So I feel like when you say go in, it's like get out of this story, and then what? What do they do?
You start to take responsibility. But the best way to reconnect to yourself is to sometimes, if you go out in nature and you take a walk and you just look at the birds and the trees and you just try and breathe, it will actually calm you down and it will take you away from that problem for just a few moments. And sometimes when you take time for yourself and you reconnect after you go take a walk or you have a shower even, it's that relaxation that helps you kind of breathe again and gives you a break. And from a point of relaxation and openness and being in the present moment, you can have answers again. And you will eventually regain your faith. If you practice those moments enough, you can regain your faith.
I love that. And I also remember that you shared with me a good tactic to do that, to reconnect with yourself, is to remember moments where you really have that feeling like you were really whole and you really knew what you're doing and you knew what made you happy and had fun. So if you go back to those moments and if you can like really answer questions like, why was like I was feeling this way? Why I was so happy that moment? Who was there? And why were those people important for me? And what else was happening? And get details about what made you happy at those moments when you were happy. Then you can kind of regain or fish back those emotions, tap into those in that space, and that can already shift you.
Yes.
More receptive instead of focusing on the reality that's not working. The problems that haunting your mind, you just go and say, okay, what is another way of seeing this that, I'm not actually trying to find solution for those things, but I'm putting me in a state where I will be more receptive to find solution for those things.
Yep. So I think really when someone says they're having a crisis of faith, they've lost connection to spirit. That's basically what they're saying. And it's not just God or their guides or whoever they're looking towards for answers. It's also themselves. So I think that if you lead people back to themselves and that they have to have that reconnection, you can only reconnect from a place, a peaceful place. So that's why I encourage people to go out in nature, just withdraw from the outside world and to just be quiet. And from that quiet state, they can start to get in touch with themselves again and they can reconnect through spirit. And when you're in spirit and when you're enlivened and inspired, it's usually doing the things you love. It's by being with the people you love. And that will actually give you a lot of strength and a lot of courage and a lot of faith. And from doing those things, you don't have a crisis of faith anymore. You're enlivened. You're in the moment. You are present. You're doing what you love. And it might not be the same for some people as it is for others. For some people, it's painting. Painting brings them into that oneness and that peaceful state. And they lose track of time because they're so enraptured in what they're doing. And for other people, it might be working on their car. It might be, just making their car like shine and waxing, and they take time. And when they're in that state, their lives have meaning and it has purpose, and they're happy doing that. So I would redirect people to just do what is important to you. Whatever lights you up is what you're supposed to be doing. And that is literally spirit talking to you. So you can kind of get over that crisis of spirit, because that's what it really is. It's a connection. It's a disconnect with yourself. You have lost connection with yourself or that other power, whatever other people think it is. And it's a call to connect with that again. And when you do, you're going to be fine. So yeah. The saying is that it's a redirection to self, which automatically leads to more mindfulness, which automatically leads to more inspiration, to more knowing, to more faith, to more self-belief. So it's like it circumvents everything, and then you look at the flip side of it, of what happens to you when you're not really into what you're doing. You do it half-assed, you're late, it doesn't make any sense. You don't have any energy to do it. You don't have any curiosity. There's no enthusiasm. But then when you switch over and like, you get lost in the moment. Like if you're doing things that you love, you play and you're in the moment and you're very focused and you learn. And that's what it's all about.
I totally believe in that. And I think that we have been rehearsed to stay away from our inner power and believe that outside situations and outside sources can make us happy. Like I will be happy only when I, get that job or build that house or my kids grow up and go to college or whatever it is, your story. And we'll never find a solution if you are in the story. You have to go to your find your inner bliss, find your inner peace. Whatever it takes for each one of us is going to be different. Yes.
Yes, it is. And everything is okay. I mean, like some people love to do some things and then others it's for something else. So you can another way is that that you can get out of a crisis of faith is find someone who has a lot of it. And that person is usually lit up. Their whole lives have a lot of purpose and a lot of meaning. They're usually doing what they love. So you go find a spiritual counselor and talk to them and they can redirect you. Sometimes they can tap into your spirit guides, or they can advise you on spiritual matters, or go find someone that's always happy, that's like really enlivened. All kinds of people, like they have those friends, or even if you don't have friends around you, find an example. Find someone who you're like, wow, they're amazing. Like, I wish I could do that. If you're saying that and you're looking at someone, they probably have some kind of point of resonance. Like some part of you knows, wow, that's what I would like to be doing. And just focusing on an example will give you a bit of a boost. Like maybe if, they can do it, I can do that too. So I would redirect people to just do what is important to you. Whatever lights you up is what you're supposed to be doing. And that is literally spirit talking to you. So you can kind of get over that crisis of spirit, because that's what it really is. It's a connection. It's a disconnect with yourself. You have lost connection with yourself or that other power, whatever other people think it is. And it's a call to connect with that again. And when you do, you're going to be fine. So
entitlement of being alive, like I deserve to occupy space, I'm here and I want this, and the inspiration that you have to live your daily life comes from that connection with your heart, with who you truly are. So Laurine, I really appreciate so much everything you said. I think if people are watching this video, I hope they get a good message and they start practicing, because they can only change if they practice, right? And that they can share this with others, and we're here for them. So if you're watching this video and you have any questions, just put in the comments, and please subscribe to this channel so that you can have more videos like this. And let me know how you're doing. Let us know how you're doing.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, and a big namaste.
Namaste.